Okay, so let's talk free groups. I think I know most everybody in here, but if I don't, I am Becky Reed. I am one of the co-leaders for Team Wildfire, and I am excited about this topic tonight about free groups. This can be such a powerful force in your coaching business. It has been in mine. They're kind of that, I think, that secret sauce that I just accidentally found. And it has been a great, great way for me to bring people through my funnel. And it will be the same thing for you. So funnel, let's talk about what that is. Our funnel, I brought one. Okay, so think about what it looks like. Big on the top, and then it gets smaller as you go down, okay? So this is really like how we build relationships with people. So our funnel at the top, think of this at the very top here as like our, if this is social media, this is all the people that you know out there. There's a broad spectrum of people that you know, people that are watching you, that are figuring out what you are doing, that are being inspired by you, but you may not know who they are, you may not know them very closely. Then you come down the funnel a little bit, and that is the people that you're having conversations with, people that you're reaching out to, that you're inviting, you're forming, you're getting to know a little bit. So it's a smaller group of people that you're talking to there. Okay, then come down a little bit further, and that is where our free groups are. So this is going to be an even smaller group of people. You're going to get to know them even better. You're going to get to know what their needs are, what their goals are, really where they're trying to go. And ultimately, you want to get them down here in the bottom. This is the smaller part, but that's the people that are in our challenge groups. And so I have found that these free groups or Shakeology groups, they both kind of work the same way as far as the funnel goes. But these are a big link for going from that conversation piece to actually getting them in the challenge group. For a lot of people, it's a big jump from like, I'm sending them this invite saying, hey, will you join me in this challenge group? And they're like, I don't have any idea what this chick's talking about. She's intimidating me. You know, like they're like, I don't know. I don't believe in myself. So many thoughts that go through their head. And so this is kind of that way that we can make that jump from one place to the other. So I run one every single month, unless we are doing a Shakeology group. No matter what, I'm going to have one. I don't care if it's December. I come up with something to have in December, because every single month, these people that join my free group, some of them join my challenge group. And it may not be that month, but it may be down the road, a few months down the road. But that is where the largest amount of my challengers come from. So we will dig into why they work. What is it that I found? And so I was thinking earlier, there's probably like a billion reasons, and I'm probably going to leave some out. I tried to narrow it down, but there are just so many great things about doing these free groups. So I'm going to hit on a few before we get into like how to develop them and what you can do with it. So number one, it's just we're giving free value to people. We are showing them that they care, that we really truly want to help them, whether they're paying us for that or not. We just want to offer that out to them. And so that's huge with people. That builds trust for them to know that we just want to help. Another reason is they get to experience what it is that we're telling them about. So we're like, hey, join this challenge group. Well, by doing this, they kind of get a sample of it. So they can get in there and be like, oh, that's what she was saying. She was talking about this great community. But they've never experienced what we're talking about. They've never experienced this app. Maybe they've never even been in a good working Facebook group. So they are totally have no idea what we're talking about. So this gives them that experience. They also get to feel the community that we have. We feel it because we're part of this team. We're on this group together, in these challenge groups, and we're connected. We're getting to know each other. We know how awesome it is, but they don't know that. So just being in there, they get to see us connect with each other. They get to see how positive we are with them, no matter what, so I'll have people be like, oh, for this week starting up, I didn't get my plan together. Nobody was like, oh my gosh, you didn't get your plan together. Everybody's like, that's so awesome. You got it together by today. Everybody just jumps in and encourages them. So they get that piece. And I think especially a group like this one. Now this group is huge. I've never seen one this big before. And I think it's wonderful. I think we have 23 coaches and around 100 participants in there. That is amazing. So let's say you had some people who are kind of on the fringes who've been watching you, and they're like, I think this girl's kind of crazy. What she's always talking about with this challenge group thing. Why is she always inviting me to that? You know, and they're kind of like, whatever, I'll do a group. I don't know what she's talking about. And then they get in there and they see that there are 100 other people and they're all doing the same thing that she is. And they're like, oh, this is a thing. Maybe I do need to join her thing. You know, like suddenly you're in a cool club and they didn't know that you were actually part of this, and they were the ones missing out. So I think for a lot of people, they get in there like, oh, there's really something to this that I had no idea was there. All right, another thing, it's an opportunity to learn. For people like me that I'm Emerald, I just join anything to learn about it. And so some people will just hop in for that. Either they're learning something brand new or they just want to learn more. I've got one girl in here and she does all my free groups, all the different ones I've done. She could probably teach them, but she's always looking for something new to learn. So she jumps into them. Another thing that I think is really huge, and this is one of the core pieces, I think, is that people get to test themselves out. You know, people are afraid to commit to spending this amount of money on something because they've tried and they failed. They've tried and they failed, you know, and so this free group gives them the opportunity to just try it out for a short term and see, can I do this? Because a lot of us, even us when we started, we weren't sure that we could do it. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to like actually stick to the thing for 30 days and follow the plan. And, you know, so this gives them the opportunity to try it out and be like, hey, I can do that. I did do that. So it's a confidence booster. Okay, and the other great thing that kind of goes along with that is that it is short. 5 to 7 days, no longer than that, because they can see that they are successful. They get to build themselves up. You know, by Friday, they stuck to their plan almost every day or all day and like, oh my gosh, look at me. There is something to this. I can do this. And then we kind of leave them hanging there. We'll talk more about that later. But I think also it's an opportunity to truly get to know them. So this whole week long, that all of us who are doing the free group right now, we're building relationships with those people. We're getting to know them better. They're getting to know us better. They're getting to learn a little bit more about us, not only what we eat, but how we're going to react to them if they don't do things the right way, you know, that we're going to continue to be positive and be their cheerleader. So it's really, again, like I was talking about the relationship. You've got a relationship with these people up here, and then it gets smaller and smaller. And by the end of the week, these people are going to be really close to this. We've gotten closer and closer to them through this opportunity. Okay, and the last thing that I want to share about why you should do them is that it's that missing link for most people, that missing link from the invite into the challenge group. There's this place where people are kind of in between land, and this is that link that helps them to kind of step over and take that risk into the challenge group. Okay, so that was 9. I'm sorry, it was really hard for me to get it down to 9. But those are kind of my top reasons on why I do them and why I love them so much. But okay, let's dig into how to create them. Now, this was not something I was good at in the beginning. In the beginning, I just came up with something and was like, I just wanted to teach people something. So I did that and I went with it. I found some other things people had done before me and looked through them and pulled and piecemealed it together. But over time, I've really learned how to take it and make it into something that helps point them towards the challenge group. Not only does it add value, but it leaves something for them where they're missing something, where they want more of what it is that we have to offer. So the first step in creating it, number 1, is that you need to find the need of your audience. So you need to figure out who you're talking to. Who are the people that are following you? Most likely they are people who are very similar to you. Whoever you are, whatever it is that you're on posting on social media, that's who you're drawing to you. So your group that you want to create is going to be angled at those people. And you need to find what that need is. So the way I figure out the need, or it was actually my Team Cup group that we worked together and made this. So it wasn't just me. I'll be sharing on behalf of all of us. But we looked at the people that we were talking to, that were having the most conversations, and we looked at who were they. They were pretty much busy moms, busy women in general, not always moms, but just those who were busy. We looked at what are they struggling with? What are the common objections we get when we're like, hey, join our group? What are the things that they come back to us and say, we can't do this because X, Y, Z? And so we took that information, the struggles, the objections, the excuses, and we just made a list of those. And for us, it was, my kids are picky eaters. I don't have time to work out. I'd rather spend my time in the evening hanging out with my kids. Healthy food's too expensive. Healthy food takes too long to prepare. I don't have any time to shop. You know, and then we listed some of the problems that busy women have. They don't have a plan, so they're always flying by the seat of their pants. And we know that doesn't work out in your nutrition, and it doesn't work out in your fitness. If you're just kind of winging it, then a few days later you're going to fall apart. You know, we all know that from experience. Another problem, they hate cooking because actually they just don't have a plan, and so when it's time for dinner, that's stressful. Another problem is schedule and priorities are out of whack. Nothing, you know, life is all over the place, and they haven't gotten things. You know, their priorities are not what they would like them to be. And then no support and accountability, and that's obviously where we come in, and that's why most of us ended up here, because we found that we needed that as well. So those were the objections that we had, the problems we saw, and so we just brain dumped that list. We went back and forth one day, and I'll just share kind of some of those things. So right now, if you have pen and paper, and I want you to write down some of the needs you see with the people that you're talking to. What are their struggles? What are their objections? What are their excuses? Just what are the problems you see? And maybe it's problems that you had yourself, because most likely they are. These are people who follow you. So I'll give you a minute just to jot those down. Okay. I know you probably could write more, make a note, and come back and finish later. Really take some time and think on this, because I mean, we took several days to think on this. It wasn't just a super quick thing that we worked on. But okay, so let's say you've got all those objections down, you've got the struggles, you've got the excuses. Now that you know who you're talking to, you know what their problems are. Now you know what you need to overcome, what problems it is that you need to solve for them, or point them in the right direction of. Anyway, we can't solve all those problems, and so we came up with, and we said our ultimate goal was, our challengers will experience a week of planning and preparing healthier foods for themselves and their family, along with some quick workouts. This will make them feel good, by healthy, more confident, proud, and more peaceful. They will experience an easier work week with more energy. So anyway, we just took all that stuff and we came up with, what do we want the overall goal to be? What do we want the outcome? What do we want them to experience? How do we want them to feel? What do we want them to do? And what do we want them to experience when it's all said and done? So we just kind of wrote that. I took that and just made it into a sentence of what I really hoped for them to accomplish. And don't overthink this. This is not like it. If you don't write up an ultimate goal, it's going to be okay. The whole thing isn't going to fall apart. This was just something, it was part of the process for us for thinking through it. But these are steps. These are not like, don't get hung up and say, oh, well, I can't make a free group because I don't know what my goal is. No, that's not true. So don't get hung up on any of the details here. I'm very detailed, and I'll probably give too many details. So take what you can away from it and ignore the rest. Okay, so anyway, our ultimate goal really was to give them this great experience, but leave them wanting more. We want them to join a challenge group. And so we left that space for them there. Okay, so next thing, so you figured out who these people are, what they're doing, what your goal is. And so then what we did was we took it and we reverse engineered it. We went back and said, how did I overcome these excuses? How did I overcome these objections? What's part of my story that I can share to help them do this? And we knew it needed two parts. We knew it needed some teaching, because you've got to teach them these steps that you want them to do, meal prepping and meal planning. We've got to teach that because people don't know it. You know, we didn't know it when we started, and some of us are still learning, and that's awesome. And so we knew we had to teach, but we also knew we had to kind of overcome all of those objections. So this weekend was about kind of tying those together. We did the teaching part where I shared a little bit about meal planning, and then Caitlin did a great video on overcoming the objection. So her task in that video was to teach about meal prepping, but she had 2 objections to overcome. She was going to overcome that I don't have time and it costs too much money. So I want you guys, hopefully if you'll have time tonight or tomorrow sometime, go back and listen to her video now that you know the backside of it, because she told her story in there, but she told her story in the way where she said, I used to think that it cost too much, but what I really found out was blank, 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 blank. I used to think that I didn't have time, but what I really found out was blah, 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 blah. And so she used her story to overcome those. Danielle is going to have, her video comes out tomorrow, and it's on picky eaters and how to deal with families, because that's something that comes up a lot with moms. You know, that's what they're like, I don't want to fix 2 different meals. And so Danielle has a picky eater in her house and has a toddler. And so she's been working through that as she's been working on herself over the last year. She's had to, you know, figure out how to make that work. So she's going to be sharing her story and some tips of how to make that work. So these stories are relatable because they're right there where people are, but they're also directly overcoming those excuses and those objections. So people can look at it and be like, hey, she did this, so if she can do this, I can do this too. I'm going to take that advice, you know? And so that's really what we want to create for them to see that they can do it, that someone else has done it before them, and really point them, you know, we're always pointing them towards the longer term group. And like I said, we taught them some stuff, but we kept it very simple. We want it to be small steps so they feel successful. You know, in my first video this week, I was talking about meal planning. I was like, hey, you know, take it and just plan your dinners if you want to. If you want to take it and plan the whole week of clean eating, do that. But I let people, you know, I gave them permission to be where they were in it. I didn't say everybody has to do this, because that would scare some people to death. I'm sure we have a ton of people in that group that are just sitting back there and they are watching everything that's going on. They're not interacting. They're not making a meal plan. They are not ready for that, but they're still getting to see the community part of all of it, because we kept it simple and we gave them permission to be where they were in the process without applying too much pressure. Now, that's something that I have done better over time. In the beginning, I was more like, hey, this is the group, you got to follow the plan. But I found that people are going to take it from in all different ways. We've got all different personalities, all different levels of security in there. And so it's really important to make it a safe place where they can feel successful if they just do one thing better this week, if they just drink more water all week, if they just get a 15-minute workout in a few times this week, if they just make healthy meals for their family 3 days, then they did something great. We want to make them feel great about what they did and making that step of progress. Okay. Okay, so we'll go back. What we did first was we made that list of objections. Then we figured out where we were going with it, and then we reverse engineered it. So we took those obstacles, those struggles, and we turned it around and talked about our story and how we had overcome it. So look at that list you made, pick 1 or 2 of those things, and just jot down a couple ideas. How did you overcome that? What did you do to overcome that? Or what do you know of someone else, maybe a different challenger that you had? How did they overcome that excuse? So write that down. Okay. So there are a million topics that you could cover. Clean eating was how I came into coaching. It was something that I had to change everything in my life, and clean eating was the big problem that had been in my life that I'd had to work on. And so to me, that was a natural step. And I generally draw people to me that are going in that same direction as well. But you want yours to be authentic to you. So your list that you just made there, it may not have anything to do with eating, meal prepping, planning. That was just the direction I took. You might clean eating, if that is not your thing, don't run a group on it. Like, you want to run something that is authentic to you. Like me, you are not going to catch me running a water group, because I never get my water, almost never. That is something I really struggle with. I'm not going to run that kind of group because I don't feel like I can teach people how to do that. I can't help them overcome that obstacle and haven't overcome it myself that much. So I'm not going to be the one running. Now, if one of you guys run it, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to learn from you, but I won't be leading. It has to be authentic to you. So maybe you are like on it with the workouts. You love that. That's your passion. Then maybe you do a challenge that's like a mini workout challenge. I've done one before that was on finding balance, and it was kind of working through priorities and things like that. And knowing what I do now, I need to go back and fix that a little bit more and tweak it so I'm funneling people towards the challenge group a little bit better. You could do a water challenge. I mean, you could do anything under the sun that you see as a common problem. I think Team Mind Over Matter, you guys are doing a group on finances this week, and we know that's a huge objection that people have. Like, I can't pay for this, I can't afford my Shakeology, and so they're helping people kind of walk through the process of getting their finances in order, so that they would be able to do that. I think that was a fabulous idea that I saw out there. So anything that you can think of that's going to help that group of people that has a problem, that it, has struggles, we all have them, but, help them get closer to a challenge group, point them in that direction and solve some kind of problem for them, or at least get them going in the right direction. Go with anything there. So hopefully you got some ideas from that. But okay, I'm going to go into a little bit more as we go, but here's the trick. So we as coaches, we want to help them and we want to solve their problem and we want to give them everything. But the trick with this free groups is we have to leave a gap. And this gap is like this place where they don't have everything they need yet. That's what our challenge groups feel. They feel these other needs. And so, we're not going to give them everything that they would get in a full group. This is a sample. They're going to get some of the benefits, but not all of them. So we just don't want to give it all away for free. What's that saying? Oh, you don't want, why would they buy the cow if they can get the milk for free? We don't want to give them the whole thing. We just want to give them a little bit to help them. We definitely want to help them. That is our ultimate goal, is to help get them pointed in the right direction. But we also want to get them in a challenge group. So we're going to give them this little bit. So for example, if you notice that if you guys who are in there, my meal plan that we had put in there, I just put dinner meals. I did not put breakfast. I did not put lunches. I could have. I thought about it and I thought, nope. I'm going to help them get some quick meals for their family dinners. And one of the first questions that we had in the group Sunday morning was, what do you guys do for breakfast? Well, that was an awesome opportunity. I said, well, you could do this, this, and this. Or a lot of our ladies use Shakeology for breakfast. So I left that gap to say, hey, there's something else that you could do. It's not part of this group, but there's something there. So that they saw there was this gap. I am going to give them, we gave them that meal plan, but I'm not going to tell anybody how many proteins they need, how many carbs they need, how much fat they need. I want them to end up getting 21 Day Fix or another program that uses the containers, where they have a research program where they have everything that they need in these portion containers that are going to help them figure that out. I'm not going to give it to them now. I want them to need that. And so that is what they would get in a challenge group. We're going to tell them, hey, get moving every day. Make sure you're doing some exercise. I'm not going to tell them how much cardio they need to do and how much muscle building they need to do in this group. Now, if you were doing a workout group, maybe, but we're not going to give them all of that here, so that they have that gap. So they're kind of left wondering, hey, am I doing this right? I'm not sure. Well, let me tell you, I have this program that'll help you, as you get into conversations down the road. Okay, so I think that was it. So pretty much we want to leave those gaps there. So the gaps that we left for hours, that we knew Shakeology, we know that we all know makes our life easier, it increases our energy, it helps with cravings, but that was a gap. They don't have that in here. And so they're going to see, I'll talk more about that in a minute, they're going to see all of us using it. They're going to see that it's there. They're going to wonder about it. but they don't have that right now. So there's one gap. We're not giving them an exact plan to follow. We didn't say eat this meal and this meal and here's your shopping list. We gave them a little bit, but not every single thing that they needed. And then we know that the other gap is that long-term support. These groups we do in a short window. They're kind of a little bit of a tease. They're like, we give this to you, we're going to help you here, and then after that we're not there for them, and they get to see, hey, that was really helpful. 2 weeks from now when they can't follow the plan anymore, but they stuck to it all week with us, you're like, maybe there is something to that challenge group thing that they're doing. So we've got to create those gaps and not give them every single bit of it so that they have something to look forward to, something missing for them that they'll need. Okay, so I'm going to go into a few what not to do in these groups. Number one, what not to do. Don't veer from your purpose. We were very specific in planning out this specific one, but whatever group you do, you're going to be very specific. You're going to know those needs, those struggles, the things that you're going to overcome. So stay there. This week, I didn't get into the group and say, hey, you need to have this much water, and this is how many workouts you need to do, and it needs to be this hard, and that's overwhelming. We want it to be simple. We want it to be focused on one thing so that they can feel successful, like I mentioned before. So don't feel from your purpose. Don't overcomplicate it. We have like one post a day. I think there's a couple days I have two, just because I thought of some fun things that we could try. And there were several of us working together to make it. But generally, I do one post a day. I do mine over the weekend, the prep over the weekend, because I was a teacher and I really want them to know all that stuff so that they feel successful when they get going this week. But you don't have to. If it's a water group or a workout group, just run it Monday through Friday, 5 days. Keep it simple. Okay, and don't be salesy in it. So we invited these people into it. Yes, they probably all know that we are Beachbody coaches, but we invited them into this to get quick, clean, and easy recipes. That was the purpose of this specific group that we're all in. So if they come in there, and so I think we have 23 coaches. If they come in there, and that's what we've advertised, this is what it is. You're going to do a few workouts during the week, and we're going to give you all these meals. And then on day one, there are 20-something Shakeology posts popping up. Then it feels like we're trying to sell them something, because like, whoa, nobody said anything about this. What is it they're talking about? I don't have the Shakeology. Where did you get the Shakeology? That turns into a salesy. Now, if we had a group where there were like only 3 coaches, then it may not have been that big of a deal. But that was why in this group I said, let's not do the Shakeology check-ins, because I didn't want people to feel overwhelmed. We want to build a relationship with these people. And if they come in and they feel like we switch things on them, then we don't have that opportunity to build that relationship to get to the next step with them. And we don't want it to be like an infomercial for Shakeology. Now, if this were a Shakeology group, oh yeah, that's what we're going to be posting. Everybody's going to be in there sharing their recipes. But that's the purpose of that group. The purpose of this one was the quick, clean, and easy meals, and to get a few workouts in. So that's where we're going to keep our focus this week. Now, don't you worry. We have a we have a post in there, an awesome post, middle of the week, that is about Shakeology. So people are going to hear about it. They're going to find out about why it is that we use it. I have that there. And we also, and when all of you shared your meal planners in there, then they see it in that as well. They see that we've all written it down. And then when we share our food at the end of the day, they're going to see it there. So they are going to see it. It's not that we're trying to hold it back or be sneaky or anything like that. We just don't want it to come across as salesy. And the same thing with anything else, whatever groups you run. Yes, maybe mention the different programs that you're using, but it's not like, hey, I want you to buy a 21-day fix from me. All of that kind of stuff needs to happen behind the scenes in the conversations that you're having with these people that you're building a relationship with. Okay. And I kind of already covered this, but don't make it too long. Keep it short, 5 to 7 days, because people can feel successful in that amount of time, and that it ends, and then they find that they really, really need you, and they're going to come back to you down the road. So, who to invite? Everyone. Anyone who has had an excuse and told you no. And I have people tag their friends. I say invite a friend with you. I do an ad so I can reach people that are kind of watching me on the outskirts. Anybody can come into a free group. I think that's a great way to bring tons of people in. It's a great way to get referrals. And so make sure when a free group comes up, or even Shakeology group, well, Shakeology is a little different, but free groups, invite. Why not? Why would you not? So what if they tell you no? But most of the time people are going to say yes, and they're going to jump in. It's free. And then, okay, so then the last thing I want to talk about is kind of now. So now we've got them in this group, right? We have 100-ish people in here. How do we take those people and we turn them from this free group into challengers? And I think it all comes back to where we start in this process in the beginning, and that's building relationships with people. It's through those personal relationships. So, I have taken these people, they are in the group, and that's my main contact point with them as far as, you know, if they have questions or whatever, I say, ask it in the group, get in the group, you know, talk about it in there. Everybody has the same question. I'm going to send them there. But I'm also having personal relationships or personal conversations with each one of these people. I am forming them all week long. I am getting to know them. I'm finding about their family, finding about their job. I'm finding about what they like to do. I am getting to know them because a lot of times these people, are at this point for me, a lot of them are cold market. They're people that I don't really know, people that have been following me. But even if it's someone that you know fairly well, it's a great opportunity just to, you know, build that relationship further and keep talking back and forth all week long. So don't just drop them in there and hope that they're going to do the whole week. And then on Friday or Saturday, when the post comes up that says, hey, we want you to join a challenge group, we want you to stay with us longer. Don't think that if you just drop them in there and do that, that they're going to come to you and say, hey, I want to join your challenge group. No, that's still on us to be building that relationship side. So for example, today I sent a message, a personal message to all of my challengers in there, and just it was kind of getting to know their goals and making sure they were all set. And I sent 2 sentences. I think, okay, it says, did you find everything you needed to make a plan for this week? And what is one small step of progress you want to make in the week ahead? So I wanted them to communicate to me and them to know I only expect them to make one small step of progress. Now, some of them are going to make a whole lot more, but I'm setting them up to feel successful. Just one. So did you find everything you needed there? And what's one small step? I did not say, hey, how's it going? Because the negative people are going to come back and tell you something negative, you know, I mean, and if anybody has insecurities or they're scared, they're going to come back with that. So don't just ask, how's it going? Direct questions. Did you find everything you need? What's one small step of progress? Just keep the conversation positive. On Wednesday, if you want to jot this down, I'll probably share it in the group too, but on Wednesday, or Thursday, yeah, probably Wednesday, I'm going to go back and say, okay, what have you done this week that you've never done before? How do you feel? What are you proud of? So again, I'm turning it to a positive, not a, hey, how's it going? But what have you done this week that you've never done before? How do you feel? What are you proud of? So I'm giving them an opportunity to look at themselves and feel successful again. Because remember, that's what we want. We want them to feel successful in this because then they're going to want more. And we want them to feel successful because we want them to be successful. We truly do. And then about Thursday, Friday, I'm going to say, have you ever considered joining one of my challenge groups? So I am going to personally invite them into the next challenge group that starts on March 20th. Have you ever considered joining my challenge group? Don't leave it hanging. Don't leave it open. Even if you're scared to death, send that invite. You have already spent a week with them. Whether they joined in and did anything or not, why not? You have nothing to lose. Just send them that invite to the group. And that's pretty much the process. So I formed those people through the whole week. I ask really specific, positive questions, and then I'm definitely going to invite. And I'm going to invite them before. So I think it's Saturday morning, there'll be a post that pretty much just talks about how awesome the challenge groups are, and we would love to spend more time with them and that kind of thing. So before it gets to that point, I'm going to have done that personal conversation. So when they see that, maybe they've seen your message and they haven't responded yet, and then they see that post by us come up in the group, then maybe they're going to be like, maybe I should consider it. And maybe they're going to talk to you a little bit more. Okay. And if they don't respond in 2 days, follow up. Always, always, always follow up, whether it's for this or anything else. So, my big piece of advice for all of you would be to go and do your own at some time, either totally by yourself or with a group of people. And I know it probably sounds terrifying, but I think by going off and doing one on your own or in a small group, you get to experience being the leader that you are. You already have all these great things to share with these people. you are doing this. You are living this. No, you're not perfect. None of us are, but you already are. So why not get out there and be the leader that you are with these people? When you do that, it is going to empower you. You're going to have a different level of involvement and care in that group. You are going to have a higher level of accountability for yourself because you have all these people watching. Believe me, when I saw 100 and something people sign up, I was like, oh my gosh, freaking out of it. So, it definitely amps the game up when you lead it on your own. But I am telling you, it is scary, but it is a great thing to do, especially if you group up with a few other people to do it as well. You will blow yourself away with what you can do and what you can create and how you can lead when you get out there and do it. So just do it. Okay, so I'm going to go back and recap really quick. That was my main points. I'm sorry, I've really tried to keep it short, but this is something that I do love because it has worked so well, and I've seen so many people be successful with it. So remember that you're going to find that need. You're going to really think about that, spend some time finding that need, figure out what it is you want to accomplish with it. Tell yourself how you're going to reverse engineer it and kind of overcome those obstacles for those people. Make sure you keep it short and positive. And everything you're doing, you're always leading them to that challenge group. From here all the way down, each step is leading them into that challenge group where they can really get the support and the long-term help and accountability that we all need. We've all been in this for the long haul. We're in it for the long haul because we need it, and that's what we want for them. So this is a stepping stone on the way to that. So I am going to see what you guys had put in the chat here, and if there's any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself, and I will answer those. Okay.
Hey, Becky.
Yes.
I know you were talking about keep it simple and we're not trying to be salesy or anything like that. But like when we do post our workouts, is it okay to post which workout we're doing? Or should we just say, hey, I did a cardio?
Yeah, and I was thinking about that today too, how to explain the difference, because the expectation for this group is that everybody will work out 4 out of 5 days, whereas Shakeology was not an expectation for the groups. And I think that's a great way. And people are doing all kinds of things. So it's not like we're all saying, hey, you got to do 21-day fix. You're doing 22-minute hardcore. Somebody else is doing hammer and chisel. Somebody else is doing CrossFit. We've got everything going on. So I see that as a little bit different, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And is it okay to share a picture of us with our shake if it's not like, here's a shake?
Yeah. And I don't want to be crazy about it. Some people put something, I don't think that's a big deal. It was more just a matter of, we don't want it to be over the top, so that it's like coming across as pushy when we invited them in for one thing. We definitely want people to see that we use it. We do. This is part of who we are. We want to be a product of the product and show it. And so I think it's fine for it to be there. So don't feel like you need to hide or anything like that. It's not that. It's just we don't want to be pushy.
Okay.
Or salesy would be a better word. Any other questions? Okay. If not, I will let you guys go. I will see you in the Quick, Clean, and Easy group, or wherever else, or whatever other groups we're in. And I hope you ladies have a great evening.